we're going to fly as fast as possible, but we have a strong habit on the wood, so we